All right, get ready to dive in, everyone, because today we're going deep into a listener-submitted story
Oh, cool.
about a young girl named Mwaka
Okay.
and her trip to visit her grandparents in Zambia.
Nice.
And so she's determined to learn Bemba,
Huh?
the local language,
Right.
to connect with her family on a whole new level.
Wow.
Our mission is to unpack
Okay.
not just the heartwarming plot,
Right.
but the fascinating cultural insights woven into this tale.
So we've got like a fictional story.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
What's so captivating
Yeah.
is how this story uses a simple narrative
Uh-huh.
to explore the deeper layers of cultural immersion.
Yeah.
It's not just about learning vocabulary.
Right.
It's about understanding the values and customs
Yeah.
embedded in the language.
Totally.
And in this case, Bemba.
And you can just feel Mwaka's
Right.
nervousness and excitement about trying to speak Bemba with her grandparents.
Yes.
It's like this universal feeling, right?
Absolutely.
That little flutter in your stomach when you step into a new cultural environment.
Yeah, and that's where the story highlights the power of language as like a bridge.
Yeah, just a few phrases can open up so much understanding and connection.
Totally.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that aha moment
Oh, yeah.
when a simple phrase in another language just suddenly makes a culture click?
For sure. Like in the story when Waka practices Mili Shani Mama, Mili Shani Shikalu
Wow.
with her mom on the train.
Okay.
It's such a simple greeting,
Right.
but it speaks volumes about the respect for elders
Yeah.
ingrained in Bemba culture.
It's so fascinating
Yeah.
how these greetings in Bemba
Yeah.
reveal so much about their cultural values.
Right.
So Muli Shani is the standard, how are you?
Oh.
But when you add mama for grandmother
Right.
and shikalu for grandfather,
Okay.
it elevates the formality.
Gotcha.
These kinship terms signify a deep respect that you might not find explicitly expressed in Western cultures.
Yeah, it makes you realize how much we take for granted in our own language. We might just say, "Hi, Grandma."
Yeah.
But in Bemba, it's almost like each word carries extra weight, extra meaning.
Precisely. Language isn't just about conveying information.
Right.
It reflects a culture's history, values, and social structures.
And the story really captures this.
Yeah.
When Mwaka finally gets to Zambia,
Oh.
despite her nerves, she manages to greet her grandma with Muli Shani Mama.
Ah.
And you can just sense the pride beaming from her grandma.
Yeah.
Talk about a heartwarming moment.
And that small victory just underscores the emotional power of language learning.
Yeah.
It's not just about fluency.
Right.
It's about those tiny steps
Yeah.
that build confidence and create connections.
I agree.
Maka's grandma doesn't expect perfection.
Right.
She celebrates the effort,
Yeah.
which is a powerful lesson for all of us.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Yeah. It's like that feeling when you nail a tricky chord on a guitar
Yeah.
or master a new recipe.
Right.
Those small wins keep you going.
Exactly.
And the story emphasizes this
Yeah.
by showing Waka's eagerness to learn more Bemba.
Yeah.
Her grandma assures her she'll learn step by step,
I love that.
which perfectly encapsulates the essence of language acquisition
Totally.
as a gradual, rewarding process.
It's a journey.
Yeah, and it's not just about speaking.
No.
The story also shows Waka actively observing and listening. Like when she picks up on a new greeting,
Oh, cool.
Mulashani.
Okay.
It turns out that's the greeting to use when greeting multiple people.
Gotcha.
Talk about paying attention to detail.
So she's really absorbing
Yeah.
the nuances of how language is used in real-life situations.
Yes, it's like she's piecing together a cultural puzzle,
Yeah.
one phrase and observation at a time.
Uh-huh.
It makes me wonder, have you ever experienced a similar light bulb moment while learning a new language?
Oh, absolutely.
Or even just interacting with a different culture?
For sure, those moments of sudden understanding, those
Yeah.
glimpses into another worldview,
Right.
that's what makes cultural exploration so enriching.
And what's so cool is that the story weaves these cultural lessons organically into the narrative.
Okay.
We learned that greetings are so important in Zambian villages.
Right.
It's almost like a social glue that binds the community together.
It's a great example of how seemingly mundane interactions can reveal profound cultural insights.
I agree.
In many Western cultures, greetings are quick and informal,
Right.
but in Bemba culture, they carry this weight of respect and social connection. It's Truly fascinating.
It makes you think about your own cultural assumptions, right?
Mm-hmm.
We might not even realize how deeply our own language and customs shape our interactions until we encounter something totally different.
Right, and that's where the power of stories like Mwaka's comes in.
Yeah.
They invite us to step outside our comfort zone
Right.
and see the world through a new lens, appreciating the diversity of human experience.
What's so inspiring is that even though Mwaka may not understand every word,
Yeah.
she's soaking up the atmosphere, the way people interact,
Right.
the rhythm of life in her grandparents' village.
Yeah.
It's about more than just language.
Yeah.
It's about truly immersing yourself in a culture.
It's a beautiful testament to the transformative power of cultural exchange.
Right.
By embracing the Bemba language and the Zambian culture, Mwaka isn't just connecting with her family heritage,
Right.
but she's expanding her own understanding of the world.
Before we move on, I have to mention one more detail that stuck with me.
Okay.
Remember when Mwaka practices her greetings with her neighbor,
Yeah.
even though she's a little shy?
Right.
The neighbor responds with such warmth and encouragement.
That's great.
It perfectly captures that welcoming spirit woven throughout the story.
It's a reminder that even when we feel out of our element, that kindness and support can bridge any gap.
For sure.
And this brings us to a crucial question.
Okay.
How can we, like Mwaka, embrace those moments of cultural difference and use them as opportunities for growth and connection?
That's a great question.
We'll explore that further in part 2 of our deep dive, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive.
Before we left off, we were talking about how even small steps,
Right.
like learning basic greetings, can create such meaningful connections across cultures.
It's really amazing.
It's amazing how Mwaka's journey, even though it's fictional, resonates so deeply with those challenges and joys of stepping outside our comfort zones.
Absolutely.
It reminds us that language learning is a journey, not a destination.
A journey, not a destination.
Right.
Yeah, and the story really captures that emotional roller coaster of that journey.
For sure.
Remember how excited Mwaka was to learn more Bemba?
Yeah, when she tells her grandma.
Yeah.
And defwaya ukusambila ichi Bemba?
And her grandma's response.
Oh, I love it.
It just melts your heart. She's like, eh, wala sambila.
Oh.
Wisa kamana, wala sambila ichi Bemba numbalin.
I love that.
It's like she's saying, of course you'll learn, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll be speaking Bemba in no time.
It's such a beautiful illustration of the power of encouragement and patience in language learning.
Mwaka's grandma creates this safe space for her where mistakes are seen as stepping stones, not setbacks.
It makes me think about how we often put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when learning something new.
Especially when it's something new.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mwaka's story reminds us to embrace the process and celebrate those small victories along the way.
Celebrate the small victories.
And speaking of small victories, it's fascinating how the story introduces new Bemba phrases so naturally, weaving them into everyday conversations.
Oh, naturally.
We're not just bombarded with vocabulary lists.
Right.
We see how these phrases come alive in context.
In context, it's so much more engaging.
So much more engaging.
Than just flipping through a phrase book.
Right, like when Mwaka's mom says, Hindi siya lapana anda, before she heads out with her grandma.
Right, that simple phrase, I will stay at home, not only teaches us some Bemba, but also gives us a glimpse into their daily routine.
It reminds us that language is so deeply intertwined with a culture's way of life.
Absolutely, and later on, when Grandma asks Mwaka, Ulefwaya amenshi, meaning, do you want some water?
It's not just a simple question. It's an act of care and hospitality.
What's so fascinating here is how the story uses language to create a sense of place.
Right.
Even if we don't fully understand all the Bemba phrases, they add this authenticity and richness to the narrative that transports us to Mwaka's world.
Yeah, it's like we're right there with her, experiencing the sights and sounds of Zambia.
Through her eyes.
Through her eyes.
And as Mwaka's grasp of Bemba grows, so does our understanding of the nuances of the language and culture.
One scene that really stood out to me was when Mwaka and her grandma are fetching water and greet a neighbor. The neighbor says, Mulishani mama, mulishani wana wandi.
Nice.
Addressing both grandma and Mwaka.
Right. It highlights how greetings are used to acknowledge everyone present.
I noticed that.
Reinforcing that sense of community we talked about earlier.
And it's so cool to see how Mwaka, even though she's still learning, confidently responds with, bueno, bueno.
I love that.
She's starting to use Bemba.
Yeah.
More naturally and spontaneously.
More naturally.
Which is a huge step.
Huge step.
On her language journey.
It's those small but significant moments of fluency that really boost a learner's confidence, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's like that feeling when you can finally order a coffee in Italian without stumbling over your words. It's a small victory, but it feels amazing.
It makes you want to keep learning.
Right.
Keep pushing yourself further.
Just like Mwaka, who, by the end of the story, proudly declares, I'm going to learn Bemba, just like you, Grandma and Grandpa.
And her grandma's response?
Oh, yeah.
Step by step.
I love that.
Perfectly encapsulates the essence of language learning.
It does.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And it's about enjoying the journey.
The journey.
The stumbles and the triumphs.
The stumbles and the triumphs.
This brings us back to the importance of a supportive learning environment.
Right.
Something Mwaka is fortunate to have with her grandparents. They create this space where she feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Taking risks, experimenting, and learning at her own pace.
It makes you wonder, how can we create those kinds of supportive environments for ourselves or for others who are learning new languages or cultures?
Right. Like maybe it's about finding a language partner or joining a cultural exchange group.
That's a good idea.
Or simply being more patient.
Yeah.
And encouraging with ourselves and others.
Those are such good suggestions.
It's all about fostering that sense of community and celebrating the effort.
Yes.
Just like Mwaka's grandparents do.
And remembering that language learning isn't just about individual effort.
Right.
It's about the community that surrounds and supports the learner.
This deep dive has been so insightful. We've explored how language and culture intertwine, how small steps can lead to big leaps in understanding, and the importance of patience and encouragement in the learning process.
All through the lens of this delightful story about Mwaka.
It's truly amazing how a simple story can spark such profound reflections on cultural immersion and personal growth.
But we're not done yet.
No.
In part 3, we'll delve even deeper into some of the questions we raised along the way.
Yeah.
Exploring how we can apply these insights to our own lives and our journeys of cultural exploration.
I'm excited.
So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone.
We've been on quite the journey.
We have.
Alongside Mwaka as she dove headfirst into Bemba culture and language.
Yeah, now it's time to shift the lens a bit. See how these themes resonate in our own lives.
Right, because let's be honest, we might not all be learning Bemba, but we've all encountered cultural differences at some point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I know I felt like a fish out of water when I first visited Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a few years ago. Even basic things like ordering food just felt so daunting. But I also remember the incredible kindness of strangers who really helped me navigate all those moments of cultural confusion.
Those acts of kindness, those smiles and gestures that go beyond language. Remind us of our shared humanity.
They do.
And they highlight that communication goes beyond just words.
For sure.
It's also about body language, tone of voice, and a genuine desire to connect.
It's like that saying, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And in those cross-cultural encounters, a little bit of patience and understanding goes a long way.
You know, it's like how Mwaka was so observant, picking up on all those subtle cues, like the different greetings in her grandparents' village. That willingness to learn just by observing is key to cultural understanding.
I think it's about being present, paying attention, and realizing there's always something new to discover.
Absolutely.
Even in those seemingly ordinary interactions.
Approaching those differences with curiosity rather than judgment.
I like that.
It's about embracing the richness that diversity brings to our lives.
And realizing we all have something to learn from each other.
Right.
Regardless of language, culture, or background.
Mwaka's story reminds us that even small steps, like learning a few basic phrases in another language, can make a huge difference.
A huge difference.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about a culture you're curious about. What's one small step you could take today to connect with that culture?
Some small step.
Maybe it's learning a simple greeting.
Right.
Trying a new recipe.
Where?
Or just striking up a conversation with someone from that background.
That's a great idea.
It doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
No.
The important thing is to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to learn.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
It might just spark a lifelong passion for cultural exploration and a deeper understanding of our interconnected world.
Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey.
It's been great.
We'd love to hear about your own experiences with cultural immersion and language learning.
Please share.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep